Hello, this is DeFi 250, and this is the Pokemon Go Radio Fusion Cup Tournament. This is only part one. It was a 6-round tournament, and I'm just going to show you the first 3 rounds today. First opponent for the tournament is DC Bats. He has a very similar team to I do, except he's bringing an Altaria, where I am bringing a Noctowl. I'm also chose not to bring Shiftry for this tournament. I chose to bring my Venusaur instead. Otherwise, we have a very similar team. I also noticed that his Mudboy is Swampert for a secondary Mudboy, and I brought a Poliwrath. Now, looking at this battle, we are currently up against his Swampert. He has no shields left, and I know that I can take this Hydro Cannon. It hurts, but I know I can take it. And then I don't quite get to that Sky Attacks, but I don't want to waste my energy. So I go for the shield so I can get that Sky Attack off. It doesn't quite kill Swampert, but I'm able to fast attack down, and I'm left in a really good situation where I have a lot of energy left. Unfortunately, that Shiftry was able to get to a Lift Blade, which almost took me out. However, I was able to knock it out with Sky Attack. That really hurt, and now all I have left to contend with is his Noctowl. And I have 2 great Pokemon that are going to be able to do that. One thing that you have to watch out for with a Frostlass is that Noctowl can be running Nightshade, and Nightshade against a Frostlass is going to hurt. However, I was able to get off an Avalanche, and that was the first round. Moving into the second round, I decide to lead my Whiscash into Altaria. Now, I decide to stick with it, and I start building up to Blizzard in an attempt to shield bait. However, he gets to the Sky Attack first. I go for the Mud Bomb, which does not get a shield. So I try to go for Blizzard again, and this time I go for it. And that one gets the shield, so he shielded absolutely perfectly. I decide to just, let Whiscash go and move into Frostlass instead. And my Frostlass's ice moves are really chunking away at Altaria. So he switches out into Swampert, but I've got Venusaur in the back. I decide not to shield because Hydro Cannon, not very effective, and that just eats Swampert for breakfast. But then Noctowl comes out, and I've got a problem. I decide I've got a lot of energy, but I decide to let it go and bring back Frostlass instead. I use my last shield to save my Frostlass against the Sky Attack, and then all I need to do is build up to 1 more Avalanche, and that Altaria is toast. And then we go into round 3. I lead my Whiscash, he leads Shiftry, which is not a great situation for me, so I bail into Noctowl, and I'm able to take a really good chunk out of that Shiftry before he switches into Whiscash. Now, Blizzard is something I would have to watch out for, but I have major energy advantage. So I'm able to get 2 Sky Attacks and blow through both of his shields before he does anything. I fall for the bait. This is a Mud Bomb, not a Blizzard. And he's able to get to another attack. I didn't think it would be Blizzard. I was wrong. But I am able to get a Sky Attack off and at least get some damage. And I'm able to actually pull Noctowl out of there with about 1 HP remaining. And I'm thinking maybe I can sacrificial swap that in there at some point to maybe save my last shield. We're in a Mud Bomb versus Mud Bomb situation. I'm able to use a Mud Bomb after pulling up some energy, and now I'm up against Swampert. I decide to let my Whiscash go, despite having all that energy, and now I have Bronzong. Hydro Cannon's going to hurt, but it's not going to kill me, and I'm able to get to a Psyshock. Psyshock isn't quite enough to take out Swampert, but it gets it pretty gosh darn close. And then in comes Shiftry, and Shiftry has an attack ready, but I have that Noctowl with 1 HP remaining. And since it had all that energy, when I pulled it out, I was able to just barely eke that by. You can even see I took a screenshot. My next opponent is PGR Overseer. I'm in a great situation here with Whiscash versus Alolan Marowak. He bails into Gastrodon, but I figured he'd be bringing that Mud Boy, so I brought Venusaur to eat it for breakfast. But then Alolan Marowak comes back, and it's not a great situation for me. Anything I do isn't going to be very effective, and that thing is able to just knock out my Venusaur. But I have Whiscash now. I don't shield the Bone Club, and I go and just start the Mud Bomb Frenzy. I shield this Bone Club. I'm afraid of a Shadow Ball because I know I need my Whiscash, and I'm a little nervous for what he might have in the back, and it turns out it is a Frostlass. My Whiscash does pretty well against Frostlass, depending on the shield situation, and with him now having no shields, all I need to do is hit this last Mud Bomb. So I shield the Avalanche, but he has another Avalanche ready to go. Here's where things get crazy. Bronzong comes in, I'm trying to chunk it down, and he's already built up to Shadow Ball. That's just almost enough to KO me on 1 HP. I'm able to launch the Psyshock off and just barely take this match. And then we go into the next round. I know that the Overseer really loves that Gastrodon as his Mud Boy, so I bring Venusaur again, but I lead Whiscash. And I make the mistake, I probably should have switched out right away, but I decided I'm going to build up some energy, I'm going to take this Body Slam, and I'm going to launch and see if I can get a shield on him. I don't. So I switch into Venusaur, and then here comes that Alolan Marowak ready to just destroy my Venusaur again. I get enough energy to launch a Frenzy Plant, and that does take a pretty healthy chunk out of that Alolan Marowak. I figure I'm going to shield whatever this is because I want to get that Mud Bomb off. I don't want to waste that energy, but he's able to get another Bone Club right away before I can do anything. Thankfully, I survive it, I tank it, and I'm able to clear that off the field. And now I have to contend with this Frostlass in the back. So he still has another shield. I try to get one more Mud Bomb on it. I do, so it's at a decent range of health. I've got one shield, so does he, but he also has another Pokemon. He still has that Gastrodon. I have to burn my last shield, otherwise I die to Earth Power. I have enough for Psyshock, but he's able to get to Shadow Ball first. Even if I had gotten to Psyshock, he still had that shield remaining. So we are now 1-1 as we go into round 3. I'm going to lead off my Noctowl, and he's got Gastrodon. I figure this is a pretty solid matchup for me. I'm not too worried about the Body Slam or the Earth Power on my Noctowl. I know that Noctowl can tank both. I try for a Nightshade just to see what kind of damage that's going to do. I think Sky Attack would have done a bit more damage considering that stab. So I go for the Sky Attack, and that gets shielded. I bail into Whiscash. I figure maybe there's something in the back I can save my Noctowl for later. And then he brings out Frostlass, which is actually a pretty okay situation for me, because Whiscash again does pretty well against Frostlass. And I'm able to just launch a bunch of Mud Bombs right in a row. I shield the Avalanche, and I think I can get to one more Mud Bomb. I do. And that's either going to take Frostlass or get the shield. It gets the shield. And I think I can get rid of this Frostlass. I can clear it from the field. I commit to fading it down. And I'm able to get my Mud Boy out of there. I launch a Sky Attack with just a little bit of health left. But then he's got this Alolan Marowak. I'm not quite able to get to Nightshade. And he launches a Shadow Ball, and that completely ruins my Bronzong. But I have enough energy built up on my Whiscash because I bailed it out fast enough, and it's able to take AWAC out. I probably could have afforded to bail out of Whiscash a little sooner, and that might not have been such a close match. Now, my last round that I'm going to do for this video is against Exenses. He's the top rated person in PGR. This is a really good matchup for me, Whiscash versus Bronzong. And I get a shield right away. And I know that I need Whiscash for his line. I know that it's going to be hugely important. I go into Frostlass instead of Noctowl, and just because I was afraid of the Ice Beam. However, I think that possibly Noctowl might have been the better choice. And you can see here we had a simultaneous KO, and we are both just waiting out the clock. I made a pretty okay move. I went into Sky Attack, and he has no shields remaining. I managed to get an excellent on a flying type charge move, something I very rarely ever do. I don't take the bait on the Mud Bomb. I shield correctly. However, I did launch into that Sky Attack a little too quickly. I could have waited and done my Nightshade. I launched 2 Mud Bombs, and I'm able to clear this Bronzong out. But then I still have his Whiscash to deal with. He launches, and now I have a Noctowl and a shield, which is a good situation for me to be in. And that's GG's on round 1. And then we're going to go into round 2. I decide to lead my Poliwrath, and I'm against this Ludicolo, and I need to insta-bail. I bail into Noctowl this time, and he goes for Bronzong. I decide to go for the Nightshade, because it's either going to get a shield or it's going to take a giant chunk out of it, and it takes a giant chunk out of it. I decide not to shield, because I know that Noctowl can tank anything that Bronzong has. And I go for one more Nightshade, which does get a shield. And now I have to choose what I'm going to use to take down Bronzong. I decide to go for Poliwrath, and I decide to use my shield on it. I try to fade down as much as I can, build up some energy, and I go for a Dynamic Punch to knock out Bronzong. And now I still have this Ludicolo. I go for Avalanche, and I end up using it on a Whiscash, which is just fine. Mud Bomb isn't going to take me out, but it's going to get close. I try to build up a little bit more energy before launching this next Avalanche. I knock out the Whiscash, but that Razor Leaf hurts. And I get the last shield, but that's all I'm able to get. And then we go into R3. And I decide to lead Noctowl. He leads Ludicolo. That's a pretty good situation for me. And then he goes into Bronzong, and I'm able to really nicely time bailing into Whiscash. And I go for Mud Bombs. I keep my shield because that Whiscash is going to be important for me in this round. And now I have the shield advantage, and I'm able to get to one last Mud Bomb. And here it is, another simultaneous KO. We both wait out the clock. I bring in Frostlass to Whiscash. I don't use a shield. I know I can tank whatever. And I know this Avalanche is going to take a good chunk of health. He brings in Ludicolo. I'm able to switch. I end up going for Nightshade instead of Sky Attack, which was a mistake. But I'm able to get to another Sky Attack to clear that Ludicolo out. And then all I need to do is clear out the Whiscash, and I do have one last shield. So whether it was a blizzard or it had been a mud bomb, it didn't matter because I had that shield remaining. And that's GG's, 2 simultaneous KOs in 1 round. If that had been where the tournament had ended, I would have been pretty satisfied. 3 wins, no losses, sounds great. However, there are 3 rounds to go and the last 3 did not turn out so great for me. And I'll be showing you that video soon. Thanks for watching and best wishes!